called the Carnival of Randomness on Get Mad Radio. Every Mondays with repeats on Thursdays, and who knows, if you really, really can't listen to us there, we're flying all over the atmosphere on different formats. You can find us. But did you realize Humpty Dumpty really isn't an egg if you read the nursery rhyme? It's never mentioned for being an egg. That came to be because Lewis Carroll put him through the looking glass, drew him as an egg. And now a Humpty Dumpty at the time was a brandy ale mixer, like a short stout fellow. But I'm wondering, was Humpty Dumpty a drummer? And on that, hi, Greg.
Hi.
Did you fall off the wall?
It reminds me of a hump and dump joke. Okay, hey,
Greg has to take everything. I try to be like refined. He takes it down the toilet. But we're very, very thrilled to welcome our guest. I don't know if he's thrilled to be here after that one, and he is. I call him a musical chameleon in a way, an explorer of sweet sounds, a seeker of all good vibes. And I'm very sorry for being pretentious, but I've been reading a lot of 1960s Marvel comics.
Who is it?
So, it's Jonathan Tucker.
Hey, thank you for having me.
What is
Thank
something?
you so much.
And I just thought, because you do have such a diverse in what you do. What are some of the things you grew up listening to that really influenced you?
Well, there's a kind of a backstory to it. So, I grew up listening to, of course, Motown, R&B, Stax, that kind of stuff. And that was playing on the radio, of course, FM radio, because I used to listen to WDKX all the time. So my mom, this is when I was like 8 or 9. My mom bought a car, and she only had an AM radio in her car. And she loves to turn on the radio every time she drives. And as you know, around that time, of course, in the 70s, FM radio was at a premium. So she could not afford to get an AM converter. So I had to listen to FM converters. So I had to listen to whatever on the radio. So I'm here changing the channel. And I come to a channel that's playing OJ's, I believe it was Love Train. I'm like, really? Okay, I can listen to this. So, listen to the song, great. After that song went out, I believe it was Rod Stewart played. I go, what is this?
Yeah, right.
What in the world is this? So, but then as more I listened to kind of like pop rock, that was WBBF, by the way. So more I listened to the pop rock stuff, more it kind of grew on me. So it just everything from Steely Dan, Jerry Rafferty, ZZ Top, whatever was popping on the radio at the time, I just
had to think of Baker Street.
Yeah, you're very good at
having sax going.
Yeah.
Well, I can think of the 70s, and it seems like when you're younger, things go on forever, but it was only a couple of years, was Raft Race.
Exactly.
I always heard that, and I always had to hear because my dad, I would be that guy like that where I'd be doing the radio, song comes on, then rip it to another channel.
Yeah.
But my dad, we used to go to Worldwide News every Sunday, and he would have to listen to like the top 40 countdown. You would get some weird stuff like you were saying out there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever check out? I mean, you must have the Blue Eyed Soul stuff, like Felix Cavalieri, Young.
Oh
Guns,
yes,
like, all that stuff.
yes.
I mean, I've always found it interesting. Like you mentioned, the diversity of AM. Like you listen to a Rod Stewart organ part versus a Rascals organ part, totally different use of keyboards, and I think that's one cool thing. It isn't just pounding chords out. There's all kinds of tonal things and techniques.
Yeah. Honestly, when I first heard the Rascals, I thought they were a black band.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But I love their music, and that was part of the very stuff that I kind of grew up listening to. So, I mean...
Well, we were all doing the Motown thing in the late 60s.
Oh, Soul Train, too, for me. Soul Train, Don
Cornelius.
It was incredible. But I get to tell this story, but there's always the old joke, too, about you only play one chord on the guitar. Yeah, if you play more, you're in a jazz band, dude. Like,
that's right.
But I get to tell this story every now and then on here, is that my mom for years would say how she played bingo with Gene Cornish's mom. And I have pictures somewhere as Greg and I were telling you, we're both like little hoarders, in my cellar. I have pictures, my mom, because I kept everything after my parents passed, that I have of Gene Cornish as a child.
Right.
Adams, I forget what the street was. So I'm going, okay, I bet she's lying to me. And Gene would play at those Thanksgiving gigs with those guitars. So I'm going to ask him. I'm going to look like an idiot. So I go and ask him, well, my mom that played bingo with your mom, she goes, go. I thought he was going to go, security, get this lunatic out of here. No, but he goes, see that woman over there? Go talk to her. Because his mom had just passed. He played sleepwalk for her. Oh. But there was someone that there. She could go, what's that woman there? So, oh, yeah, I remembered her really well.
I remember when the Rascals, when they play the songs, I was kind of like, where's the guitar? I don't hear any guitar. It was very subtle. And his use of what, except for like maybe Come On Up or something like that. But... You know what I mean? The way he was like an accessory instrument.
He was.
And it was mostly organ drums.
I think it was spoiled a little bit in that way, too, because I have like a friend Pat Barry, is in Kentucky, and he used to come here with his band, and he flipped out about like meeting Gene Cornish and my mom, because that was just like he idolized Gene Cornish. I'm like, Gene Cornish is from here, whatever.
So where are you at with synths and synthesizers?
Yeah, that was actually a fascinating time if you want to talk about
it. Okay, so my interest in synthesizers started in the 80s. I would say probably with the MTV craze, all of the techno that was out, the new wave.
Right.
I was hearing some different sounds, and I kind of got drawn to spacey pads at the time. I don't know why, I don't know how I got into it, but I just kind of got into it. So
like the wash.
Yeah. I was listening to stuff, so I started listening to stuff like Eurythmics, Flock of Seagulls, The Fix, a lot of the really spacey keyboardy stuff. That I got into, and
picture repeater button.
No, I didn't really get in arpeggios, but all the pads and stuff like that. So I went and bought myself a keyboard when I was 17, I believe. Bought a little Casio from Present Company, if you remember that.
Yep, I remember that. Yes. Yep. I bought tape recorders from there. I was like a tape recorder fanatic. I used to buy those little 3.5 reel.
You remember, like, you would get, like, you turn on your radio, and you get, like, the little tape to put your tape recorder on.
It's funny. As I was going to the Dinosaur last night for the gig, I took St. Paul, and in the corner there, was Present Company.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where Cook Supply is now, I think, and it's just like, oh man, that was a cool place.
That was. I went to the one in Westgate Plaza. They had one in Westgate Plaza, and got my keyboards as I lived right around the corner from there.
See, we always called that the mini mall because I grew up in Gates.
I actually
bought Baskin Robbins, the Magic Shop.
I actually bought
Phase Drugs.
Oh, I remember Phase Drugs. Yep.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I bought a floor tom actually at Gem. Remember Gem? Mm-hmm. It was a discount place. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so long story short, I bought a keyboard and I started picking things up by ear, and the whole learning to play thing didn't really come at me at the time. I just wanted to make sounds, and
right.
I thought I could make them expensive sounds on the radio. So fast forward, of course, I joined the Navy. And now I have a little money. I can go and buy those more expensive cheap keyboards now.
Right.
The bigger Yamahas and with speakers on them, and I started doing my own compositions, if you can call it that, just basically drums and noise.
Right.
So and samples, because I was still in my hip hop phase at the time, so I was hitting samples and stuff. But that's what I was doing. So, fast forward to me leaving, being discharged, and now being, going to the open jams on Sunday nights afterwards, after I got back home from the Navy. So, at that time, I was into bands like, I was into the Rush at the time. I wasn't into the older Rush. I was into the newer Rush.
Oh, right.
I got into Peter Gabriel. Got into Genesis, but I wasn't really getting into the older Genesis at the time. So I started learning these songs, some U2 songs as well, And I went to the open jams, and I had my little sequence. I was thinking, maybe we can do some Peter Gabriel or something. Everybody was playing blues.
Right.
And I knew nothing about playing blues. Nothing whatsoever.
So you were like the Rush. So that was like they used to call the 1980s their big keyboard.
I never would have expected that. I just know you as an R&B guy, so I never knew that was your background. That's very interesting. That's cool. I mean, your diversity is outstanding.
That's what I've seen. So. I have a good story about Peter Gabriel, too. My buddy Sammy, he did security. So, for like the War Memorial, it'll always be the War Memorial with me. I always say that.
Oh, same here.
But so Peter Gabriel, I asked how Peter Gabriel is because I'm a big fan. I really like Peter Gabriel. It's like one of my, I used to tell Tony 11, I met you 40 years now because I saw you play with Peter Gabriel. What was it's one of the ones he didn't name, dude. But so Peter Gabriel liked to go biking around the city. So Sam being security had to go with him, and he ran. And he said, okay, part of the job, I'm not stopping. So he's jogging. They get back to that part in the War Memorial, it's like a garage. He's bent over. Peter Gabriel's laughing at him. And he's like, why are you laughing at me? And everything's like, out of the whole tour, you're the first one who made it the whole way.
Nice.
But I always loved, that's the thing I loved about, like, you mentioned keyboards of Peter Gabriel. Or everything, you never knew what you were going to get. Like, I still, for his latest album, I haven't gotten to the second one because I keep playing the first because I keep getting all these sounds you get out of this.
Yeah. When you were digging into blues, what did you discover? Like, as far as the differences, and was it a big learning curve? Or?
I wouldn't even know. I wasn't thinking about learning curves at the time. I just kind of gradually got myself into it, you know. Because back when I was a kid, I did not like blues at all. I hated the blues.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
depressing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like old folks music. I don't listen to old folks music. So I kind of and I kind of picked up certain things. It kind of got It got more interesting to me because being able to play in a band, you know, that was a cool thing for me. And then playing with everyone else is playing. So that was I would say my first reason for continuing on with the blues thing.
Right.
So I started listening to, I guess records. Well, actually, because I'm kind of going a little too fast here. But
all right.
I went more to open jams, and I started picking up stuff what everyone else is doing. Picked up a little piano, picked up more organ because organ was easier for me because I didn't have to really do a lot of licks with the
right.
organ. So that's how I started off, and as more the jams I attended, I grew more. I guess I grew more comfortable, grew a little bit more knowledgeable as I continued playing, and then I joined Steve Grill's band. I was at the Earthlings for a bit,
right?
With Joff Wilson, and
that's a cool band.
It was, yeah. He decided he needed a keyboard player. He asked me if I wanted to join. I was like, me, I can't play keyboard to save my life. So we did a double bill one time at Richmond's with Steve Grills and the Roadmasters. This is back in like the very early 90s. And Steve asked me if I could do a gig with him, And I believe the first gig I did with him was in, oh my goodness, I think that gig in Schenectady in Union College.
Oh, wow.
Was the first gig I did with him. And then he asked me to join his band. So, and I joined his band. And then from there on, I knew I started getting a blues education like nothing else.
Right.
He's a blues historian. He knows every group that I never even heard of in my life. So I was listening to North Coast at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was listening to some Jim. I heard this guy was wailing on the organ. And I say, there's one track where this guy was killed on the organ, and it was Jimmy Smith.
Right. Yep.
And that's what basically just. I said, I got to do more organ. I love this stuff.
I have a Jimmy Smith album. It's called Acid Jazz. I don't know if you know that one.
Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, he's just great. Because I grew up playing with Rich Fiordaliso, back in town.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a Hammond, a CV, I think, a big freaking thing. He bought it from Vinny Strength of the Rustics.
Wow.
And I remember Vinny came over to fix some, do some wiring or soldering or something. And yeah, so him and I started out playing standards, and we played some parties, and then then we had a band in high school and all that. But yeah, it's cool, man.
I don't want to listen to that blues stuff. It's all like old country. It's all old. I'll go play my Led Zeppelin album.
We're playing Sugarloaf and all that.
Sugarloaf.
Stuff,
oh yes, Sugarloaf.
I think sometimes it's a growing experience because I think we grow up a lot of times. Like in high school, we had like those. You had to be something in terms of music, and if you got caught, I was listening to Miles or a jazz album, you'd see your friend look, you're not listening to Iron Maiden, stuff like that. As you get older, I think you want something new, and it's just my biggest thing for that. My gateway was I got the Robert Johnson box set, and Johnson only wrote 29 songs.
Right. I think that's the basics behind that Rush song, Subdivisions. It's all
because high school
caste
sucks,
systems
basically.
and classes.
I have to tell you something, so I have to say something. Back when I was telling you I was listening to all that soft rock stuff of the 70s and Rod Stewart and stuff, it was a closet for me, because I didn't play that stuff where I lived at.
Right.
I don't want people to know that I was listening to that stuff. You listen to that music.
Yeah, right.
That's what happened to me, like with my friends, because they're all big metalheads.
What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
You get caught like
get picked on.
They catch you down at Lakeshore Records or something buying a Zombies album or something. You'd hear nowadays you'd be all on TikTok or stuff. Hey, caught him.
Nowadays I don't care.
See, I don't either.
That's its own unique phenomenon. That whole thing of you're not supposed to listen to this.
But that brings up like a thing I brought up on this show so many times. But I think it's an important point. It's like trying to get people I know to go try something different.
Right.
They just, and I get where, like, I say small C conservative, that, we like, but, for me, I always am looking for different things. I mean, like, that's the one, like, for lockdown, I'm listening, like, African music. I'm going all over the world. I want to hear something new. You can go play the Eagles anytime you want.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I love the blues now. I think it's just fantastic stuff. Jazz. Even country.
Which country?
Mongolia. It's
Albanian folk music.
Mongolian country music.
No, you all you self-taught completely? Self-taught on the...
Yes, I'm
Did you
self-taught.
get like some influences along the way, obviously?
Yes.
We all have them.
Yes. I would say my earliest influence, if I were to say, that got me into really getting serious about playing, I would say Jimmy Smith was definitely a very early influence for me. And believe it or not, Charles Brown. Charles Brown, great singer, but he was a great New Orleans piano player too.
Wow.
New Orleans in kind of a jazzy New Orleans style, and I followed him, and my style he kind of influenced how I, style of play that I do on the piano. So he basically, I guess, encouraged me just listen to him to get more serious about the piano. And local guy here got me really serious after watching him, Giancarlo.
Oh yeah, right. Yep, I know him. Yep.
Yeah, he I met him back when he was playing with the Jazz Workshop, and he was also playing with John Cole. So it was at Shep's where I met him, because I did a gig. I think I did a gig with John Cole where I was covering for him, something like that. And he asked me to, because he was playing with the Jazz Workshop at the time, and I think they were doing a double bill with John Cole. And he asked me, would you like to sit? I'm like, I'm not a jazz guy. I can't play jazz, So, but that's how we met, and then I started going to his gigs, his shows with John Cole, and I was listening to him, and I really just got thrown into his style of playing the piano. I just love how he played, and his approach and his flow was perfect. I just loved it. So I started listening to him and started picking up with some of what he's doing.
I think the best part is you take influences, like when I started writing a bit, I used to take from Ray Bradbury. Then you make it your own, though. You try to make it your own.
Exactly.
You try to put your own spin on. But I would have recommended jazz because there's a story I tell on here about how Rick Wakeman, like during Yes things, they would do like Journey to the Center of the Earth, and he had the hood. So if you do a long jazz song, you do the same thing. He would have the hood, and because the song was like 30 minutes, he would be eating takeout.
Right.
Under the hood. So if I would see you playing with the hood, let's go back a little bit because you brought the memory back to me of Richmond's. It was one of my hangouts.
Yes.
What's some of the other places you played around then? Because I was in town in the 90s too. So
I love Richmond.
that like places that should have gone
love
now.
Richmond.
I
Love the
can still
wings.
picture.
Yeah,
I used to always be able to park right in front too for some reason.
Yep.
Somehow I don't know because it was like that Richmond Street, like right by Apple, like Little and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I always could park in front.
Yeah, I
Same
used to
here.
go there all the time.
I think the last time I saw, I think it was maybe I don't know if it was the Badenoffs or the Quitters or somebody. It's like one of the last shows I went there because I heard it was closing. And then the Wings, like you said.
The wings were.
It was fun to go upstairs if you go up on the roof there.
Yep.
That was the shit, man.
That was cool.
It was
That-
nice. You know,
I
it
used
was
to
a
go up
nice
there,
atmosphere.
The one I regret because I was just a little too young, but I've heard so many stories is Red Creek.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I played at Red Creek once or twice.
Is it true about the grease coming down the dressing room? Did you ever hear that one?
I've heard about it.
You
I've
didn't
heard
get
about
hit
it.
with it.
No, I don't think I remember getting hit.
But were
by
there
it.
any other places around then, like both of you, that stand out?
Norton's.
Norton!
Scorgies.
Scorgies.
I played Scorgies a couple times.
My dad bought a car from Don Scorgia,
Yeah,
of all
that's an
things.
interesting place.
Yeah, it was. The load-in was, I could never remember how to get in the load in that place because it was kind of weird, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Well, it can't be any worse than Marge's.
Oh, no, it was weird. It wasn't worse. It wasn't bad.
There's a difference between weird and worse.
Marge is crazy. But, that place, let's see if I can remember any other
Remember
places.
Backstreets? That was
It was
cool.
huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Lou Graham there when he.
Bosco's Bombay Bicycle Club was
Yeah.
another one.
Oh, I remember that place. I went there once. That's where I met, I believe, Uncle Raj.
Last time I ever saw Raj, I saw him at a Ramones concert, and he's a great guy. I saw him at a Ramones concert at U of R. And what we were talking about, our last conversation, he was saying how he liked Van Halen's 5150.
Oh, really?
That was maybe I was really drunk on vodka and lemonade. So we could have been talking about.
Yeah, he used to come out and hear us play every now and then. He was a very accessible guy. I even went to visit him at the station a couple of times. Like midnight, I go ring the bell. Hey, can I come out? I was like one of these persistent little pests.
I'll tell you a story about him.
Have I changed? No.
It's not bad or horrible, but I'll leave it off the air. I'll tell you after the show. It's nothing terrible, nothing like scandalous or anything. But we had a really good conversation with the maestro before about equipment. So can you talk a little about your favorite Moog? You prefer Moog, obviously. Some of the types and differences.
Well, no, I don't actually have
I have no
preference.
idea about that stuff, so.
Moog is, I guess. I always wanted to have one, just to have one. I really would like to have a mini Moog. Mini Moog's like the pinnacle. It's
Cadillac.
Pretty much now the Cadillac is a little expensive to have, but I guess I'm a big pad lover. I love big sound, big pads, and all that stuff. But as I progressed, I got more into funk and more into something like a nice electric piano with some effects on it, or with this little bit of distortion, with a nice organ, things like that. Something more organic, rather than I still mess around with stuff like that, pads. But
I really actually think our control center is a spaceship, and those are little things going to take us out to orbit with those signs.
Yep.
But I want to talk. You've been really involved with a lot of different things, a lot of different groups and projects. And one question I'd like to ask in general, first, and we'll go more specifics, is like dynamics, how you're able to work with all different like types of music and people, and what is that? What do you have to have the mindset to do that, to be able to collaborate with a bunch of people and just all kinds of different styles?
What I do, I kind of understand the music, and it's so much when I listen to the songs or listen to whatever type of music, I try to grow to understand the music a little bit.
That is key.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I try to listen. I try to listen to folks, listen to what they're playing, listen to what they're doing, and try to match, or try to not necessarily match, but just kind of
compliment.
Exactly. That's the word. Compliment what they're doing. And I take a different approach, especially when I go from, let's say, if I go from progressive rock, because I've done progressive rock as well, to blues. With blues, I have a different rig, of course. I have it's either piano or organ with the blues. Nothing else, no synthesizers, none of that stuff. Piano or organ. That's. I guess I have a different approach when it comes to different bands. Just
well, sure, you got to. It's like having 20 snare drums or something.
Yeah. So.
Sounds like being able to compartmentalize is a really good thing. Like I'm reminded of the things from The Simpsons about the blues. Playing the blues is not supposed to make you feel better; it's to make everybody else feel bad.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good skill, because I think some people can't do the working with other people's key too.
So I got to bring this up. We were talking about it before we started about the Busted Valentine's gig we did with Frank the Blaze.
Right.
So it was, for anybody that doesn't know that, Frank the Blaze is a great writer and poet and whatnot. So he had these poems, and it was basically like a Henry Rollins kind of thing, spoken word, and we would back him up with these jazz riffs.
Yep.
And we would just start out, it was basically a bass, an organ, and I would just play basic atmospheric stuff. But that was like the coolest thing, and that's when I first realized, man, this guy can play. Because you were super imaginative.
And was it all improvisation?
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly improvisation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you figured out all these cool things to do in each thing, and it wasn't just the same old holding down, chords and stuff. So I was very impressed.
Thank you.
But that was a lot of fun. And
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much, and listening to Frank and listening to stuff that he comes up with is just insane, man.
Yeah.
I loved it. And just love playing that kind of stuff, And I never thought I would play a Monk song.
Right.
Me play Monk?
Yeah.
Is there a little bit of a danger in there, though, too? Like, if he says something that's really funny and you're not ready for it, you start laughing all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, some of his prose is quite interesting. Like, I can't think of him offhand, but, he has a unique way of thinking about things, and it's very cool. I always like it.
He's amazing, man. I love Frank.
But that's just like the idea of improv. Like, that's really cool, too. But let's go a little bit more specific to some of the groups you played with and some of your own, whichever you want. Where did you first things you've joined? You talked about, but I know there's a lot of others.
Okay, so
whatever, any bands like you played with, or I know you've done the Sun House thing.
Mm-hmm.
And how's that?
I still do that. We do it every Thursday at the Record Archive, 6 o'clock. But I find it really fun because I started off when Genesee Johnny was doing the guitar. Right. He was hosting it, and I really find, I don't know, it's the stuff that the music that we do, which I've never done a lot. Some of these songs I've never done before. Actually, a lot of them, because he'll put in stuff from Sun House material that I've never played, never heard, and they just kind of play, and I just kind of pick up on the vibe on basically what they're playing, and it was really cool. I mean, really great stuff. I mean, I just come in and try to just get in where I fit in, I guess. I don't know.
He's pretty traditional with the way he plays that stuff. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I always say, too, you're never going to play ever, no matter, you may play Carnegie Hall, but you're never going to play places a chandelier and a dinosaur skeleton with oven mitts on it.
Did you ever play with Billy B? Weren't you in his band for a while? At times.
At times, I do play with him. I think I was part. I'm not sure if it was regular band once or twice. But nowadays, every once in a while I do stuff with him at PIs.
Right. I've done those. Those are fun.
I've done many of those with Billy B. So every time he still calls me every once in a while when he's yeah.
Isn't there I'll probably get it wrong? Correct me, please. About Sun House, where they found him living on East Avenue or something here. He was had a job as a custodian or something here.
I think he was doing. I'm not sure he was doing the railroads. I think working the
railroads.
Wow.
They found him.
Yeah, they found him here. Yeah, and then and they
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I always said about you research your blues, you had to live it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing.
Yep.
I think it was Blind Lemon Jefferson. They found him frozen out in the snow.
I just love the names, man. Where they come up with these names is Clubfoot Willie,
Yep.
What was the one on Sanford and Son? I want my daddy's records back. And then Fred goes to sell them anyways. He puts them down and they run him over. But that type of thing. Yeah. But there's another, I know, what was the one? Is it Ken? I get names wrong. They're really out there. Ken Foster, was it maybe? Do I have to name him? I am
Ken Foster's
Game
Night. Game Night. Yeah. Game Night Quartet.
Oh, so you did games too? You played D&D and stuff.
No, he calls it Game Night Quartet. That's the group he puts together, and it's more experimental. And it's kind of experimental improvisational jazz, and basically stuff that he wrote, and it's quite I would say satirical, and it's it leaves basically the door open, it leaves open to improvisation, open to whatever sound. He was open to whatever I put in there. I threw some Moog in there. I actually brought my Moog to his gigs.
Wow.
Yeah, and did some Moog solos and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Well, all that older stuff is creeping back. Turntables and vinyl and Moogs and people are going. I think a lot of the younger players are searching for that. They want to know where it came from. They don't want to just buy something modern, hit a button, and like a guitar amp with a ton of sounds. They want to hear the actual amps that made these sounds and guitars and pickups. And
I would hate to I could press a button and sound like Herbert Sumlin. That'd be horrifying. No. You never want that.
I mean, when you want to go and do something, for example, you listen to one guy that you love so much, and you listen to a style. You just press a button. What are you actually learning? You're just hearing, you're just learning one part of them. But there's another aspect to his playing. There's another I would say another element to what he does, and you can't get that while just pressing play.
Right.
It's good to listen and maybe research and if you're a musician, maybe follow his style, a bit.
I try to bring up Sumlin a lot on here because I think he's one of the greatest guitarists ever. He's the guitarist for Howlin' Wolf, and I remember you mention him and people go, "Who's that?" I go, "You ever listen to Eric Clapton? You ever listen to Led Zeppelin?" And there's the story about the Howlin' Wolf concert in London where someone was there in Clapton. Because you got someone, what do you need me for? He's sort of a weird mix where he appreciates this stuff, but he's a controversial figure, but whatever. You got... What the heck is that?
Someone's creeping around the studio.
Uh-oh.
We always have these fans that sneak around here and try to listen in while we're taping.
Good evening, fans of the creaking door. Okay.
Only in a rerun. But I love history, and so I start... It's for me, if I'm playing a song, I want to go back and hear this, and I don't know how much... I'm very disturbed now hearing about how people don't read or don't know history or anything now. But I always say every now and then there's hope. I see like kids are playing blues or surf or whatever.
You know, I've watched some documentaries just even in the last couple of years, World War II and whatnot. Because I never really understood. You grow up, okay, the Great War and blah blah blah,
right?
But you don't really understand why it happened.
Exactly.
And you start looking, you start going back, and this was going on in Europe, and Hitler was doing this, and these other countries were, it was all starting to happen slowly. Yeah. And obviously we weren't in it for a long time, but I mean. Anything. You don't know history if you don't understand it. And I'll tell you something. This is a little bit off the tangent, but
on this show, Greg.
Okay, you look at like the Greek, the Pantheon, and the pyramids, and all these different things from different countries. Their structures. They the Colosseum. They saved that stuff. They let it. Even though it's crumbling, they leave it as a heritage thing. Mm-hmm. We have this thing about get rid of it. It's old. What do we have sometimes to look at? I mean, exactly. I don't know what's around still. I don't know if the Alamo's still around. But, I think that's a shame. It's a wasted opportunity to get architecture, to get people to understand, the progress.
But anyway, I think maybe that's a word for it, though, too, is understand, because the blues seem so simple, but they're really complex in a way. And you have to really, to get into it, I think sometimes, and I say this about reading, about film, about life, is that you have to grow into it to really appreciate it.
The thing with blues is that people see it as simple music. I listen to reaction channels, and there's one person listening to blues who happens to be, unfortunately, an educator, a music educator, and she's going like, oh no, the simple blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, this chord 1 4 5. Yeah. And I looked at that. I'm like, you really don't understand the blues, do you?
What's reaction?
They listen to the song.
Reaction channels. These young folks are doing nowadays where they listen to the stuff from the old and they react to it.
Oh, I got it.
It's on you all over YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody reacts.
Oh, so and so reacts to hearing this for the first time.
Yeah,
that stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people have probably been institutionalized to listening to this show for the first time on the reaction.
Well, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, yeah, it's simple, but therein lies its complication.
Exactly. You have to. The thing is, you have to sell it. You have to. What are you going to do with those 3 chords? What are you going to do with it?
Right.
You have to. It's up to you to sell it. So that leaves it all up to you. You don't have like a chart to go through and say, oh, you do this part, oh, you just play this part. No, you have to own it and sell it.
See, because music educators, because, I went to music school too, and they get all into figured bass, and they get into, chord substitutions. Well, that's more jazz, but, different bass notes and stacking chords, and, okay, yeah, but, multiple layers of orchestration, and at the root of it, ba 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 ba. Okay.
Be best. If anybody's seen it. Come on.
There's a quote that Peter Gabriel made, and I saw that really stuck with me. He says, "I don't want to be impressed. I want to be moved."
Yeah, that's great. Yep.
I don't want to be impressed. I want to be moved. And that's what I mean when we play blues. I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing to actually get into people? Getting into their soul. What exactly are you doing? That's your whole goal. Your goal is to make them feel something.
Yeah, and that's the X factor. Mm-hmm. I mean, you either have it or you don't. I mean, or you can convey it.
Right.
But to do that, you have to understand it.
Exactly. You have to.
How do I get people to feel it? What is it that I feel, and how can I make them feel it?
You have to do it organically, I would think, though, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't just fake it. I have one of the best, I mentioned this for Ghost World, Blues Hammer. Mm-hmm. If you ever see the movie, there's a guy, he's a very musicologist, and there's an old blues man. He wants to have him sign the album. They're playing it like some sports bar of all things. So, and the headlining act's a band called Blues Hammer. So he goes, you can Google it on YouTube, just Ghost World Blues Hammer. So the old blues, he's playing, everybody's talking, drinking, not paying attention. Mm-hmm. Then they go, somebody comes up to him, guy and goes, "You got to see Blues Hammer; they're amazing." Turns it on, there's these guys like plays like this lame. I've been plowing and walking the cornfields all. Google it. YouTube Blues Hammer. I just died. I like literally died. Everybody's dancing and everything. It's like way down in the Delta Blues.
It's like country music. My dog died today.
My truck broke down. My liver failed.
Just another day.
You mentioned it too. Complex but simple. Besides blues, what comes to my mind is reggae. And I talked to Greg a lot about how drumming seems simple in reggae, but it's not.
No.
It's definitely not.
I mean, you got to know the style. I won't get into the whole thing. But there's different types, But, yeah, I mean, it's neat. And then once you get into it, you start to, I can do all this cool stuff. And you got to leave holes and spaces and accents and all that stuff.
So who are some of the other people you've collaborated with?
Who I collaborate
with?
Well,
just played music with. I thought.
Let's see. Let's see. Right now, I'm also with we used to call it 52nd Street Band. Now they call it, because there's one guy, Chris Prime. I don't know if you heard of him, piano player. He's doing both Elton John and Billy Joel. So we're doing it. It's now we're called let's see, Mr. Fantastic, or is it
Captain Fantastic?
Captain Fantastic meets the Piano Man.
Oh wow!
So that's the name of our group now. And one guy who plays, and the guitar player plays with us is Danny Mancuso.
Oh yeah.
So that's one guy I've been in a couple bands with. Let's see. Let's see who else I was with. Oh my goodness!
You've never done anything with Greg, though, have you?
Of course.
Well, we did that thing with Greg.
It's like 6 degrees of separation. Yeah,
I mean, we've done jam sessions together, and we've done different things.
Everybody knows Greg.
Yeah. He doesn't go away.
How do you? What's your approach to doing songs like that, though, like Elton John and Billy Joel? That you figure, okay, the audience, do they want to hear, okay, as is, you throw in your little improvisation or anything?
Well, I try to do things as close to the record as possible. What I do is I listen for certain things. Like, for example, when I was listening to that one Billy Joel song, My Life. Okay, when I listened to My Life, behind that piano, well, if you really listen to it, there's a harpsichord or some sort of harpsichord that's playing with it. Yeah, and that's what I listen for. I key in on little things that are being throughout the song.
I think there's like a flange on the bass, and there's like all kinds of weird stuff in there.
Yeah. So I focus on little things like that. Moving out, there's an organ. And so, as far as Elton John, the toughest, I guess the one song that's pretty much mostly me is "Funeral for a Friend."
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, so that goes right into "Love Lies Bleeding."
Yeah,
by Yellow Brick Road, one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, so I'm doing all the parts. Well, I'm trying to do all the parts on "Funeral for a Friend." So it's fun. Yeah,
exactly.
I need 3 or 4 arms to play them, but it's fun. I love
got your nose down, your
nose and 40 different keyboards, but I love challenges. I love to be challenged.
That was actually a question I was going to ask you, because you were talking about like the improv. I was thinking of Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band, and there's a joke going around that all the guys like Drumbo and Zoot, they were going to do a reunion. Like, we don't want to learn this stuff,
right?
Staff and stuff. But that was because that was like one of my actually gateway things too. When I heard, you can't. It's unlistenable. Trout Master Replica. I loved it, but in a way too, as being a musician, an artist, that yes, you want to convey feeling, but you want to sometimes just challenge yourself, when you're playing, and try to go, okay, I could go this far. I want to go out here for some more.
Yeah, there's a riff that I made, that I like, so much, and I, hear it throughout the radio on CMF, so I try to play it, try to learn it. you know?
Well, you got to.
Yeah, because it's fun. It's fun. I find it fascinating.
Isn't it fun? But there's also, I call them, like we've talked about Rush a little bit, and Neil Peart talked about this. That Neil said, we're all competent musicians. You're going to get a good show. But every now and then, that one show or whatever, there's a bit of magic, and like the song. Do you ever get that when you're on stage, you just look at someone and go, wow,
oh, yes.
Wow, I wish...
Oh, yes.
For a split second, you're like in a sort of a metaphysical, uplifted, some kind of weird thing going on.
Well, you're a drummer, so you're like that Eddie Van
Halen. Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Exactly.
It's like for a minute you're like, yeah, this is what it's about, and you're connecting, and it's like spiritual almost.
Because there are musicians who do that to me. I hear something, everybody's clicking, and I hear this one guy who's just, doing some great stuff. I'm looking at him like this. I might give him some crazy good looks. And. I love it. It's. I guess it's part of the joy of playing out live. Because you're in the moment, and everyone is clicking. Everyone is together. Everyone's tight, and it just, it's like.
I saw one. Herb Smith is playing at Abilene, and they're playing a song, and they're going on. He literally stops afterwards, and he looks around. And he goes, the best fucking way we ever played that song. Gotta get the podcast swearing too.
Yeah.
But and that's that feeling. And I think a lot of people, you didn't write the song for me or anybody else, but there's a universal element to music where you feel we all go through these emotions. Right. And sometimes, if you have people come up to you and just say how much you meant playing, that's always awesome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But then you worry, it's like, that song sucked. Do I waste my money?
Yep.
Let's get those two. But then, I've heard that one of my really good friends said the closest he came to a religious experience was playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think you get it or you don't. I've gotten that, writing in some ways. You get something, it's all whatever, but then you get, wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, if you really get in the weeds of it, it comes from your mental state. You're connecting with your physical stuff, hands and feet, or whatever, and through that, you're reaching other people's sensibilities, and then they start moving, which then that's physical for them. So it's very, it's like, why? How does electricity go through a wire? Who knows?
It's like you don't even know, but yet you feel something. You're feeling what this guy is doing. You're feeling what this guy is doing, and it's like it's like it's like you say, it's magic. It's like you're in a different realm. And I can't
explain that I felt that in life where I always used to say there'd be magic. People get it or they don't. I'd say you go out and do whatever. Sometimes it's just this weird little fairy dust on you, this little sense of magic in life, which makes it worthwhile for all the miserable crap and everything else. But I think we're going to take a couple-week hiatus after this episode. We're going to go to a Shaolin temple.
We're
going to practice because to get our zen
in there.
Talk a little about okay, what if some CDs live recorded? How is the process these days too for just making CDs, everything, music in the studio as compared to live?
We making when I made my CD when I was making CDs. CDs are kind of the old thing nowadays. And no one's really
right on cue. I did it
right on cue. No one's really doing CDs too much nowadays. They kind of still are. I think some folks are still doing it. It's coming. It's starting to come back. But I have when I do CDs in the studio, when I do my songs in the studio, I kind of have more creative control. I think it's like it's between you and the instrument, basically.
Yeah.
I do write some stuff, and I'll play a passage or something like that, and I'll record it. So, okay, I'll try this. Okay, I record another passage. Okay, this can be this part of the song, and it's a process that you have creative control. More, I say the creativity as far as sounds concerned, Whereas you play live, there is some creativity there. There's some improvisation there, but you're kind of controlled by the music that you're playing, by the songs.
Yeah,
that you're
you
playing.
can't stop and do it
This
over.
has been a lot of fun. Thanks a lot for being on.
My pleasure.
Lots of
Thank
fun.
you, John.
And we're going to play a
for having
song at the end. Now, where can we see you soon? Is there a website or anything? I just look for.
You can go to Yacht Club Rock, I think.
Do you have to wear a pirate outfit?
Yeah, yes, please. Yeah.
A vest.
But you can go to Facebook page, Yacht Club. I think it's Yacht Club Rock. I think that's what it is.
That's cool.
But we're on Facebook, and we have a full schedule. So.
And we'll play a song from your CD.
Okay.
And why don't we keep it a surprise to make it more? Because we talked about the whole thing about music, whatever the song is, and then they can get the CD and say, what's this one? It was awesome. Thanks a lot.
Here comes John Tucker.
See ya.
Thank you.